Hey everybody, I hope that you're well and that you've had a great week. Our topic for this video is how to grow spiritually. Now before I get into our topic, if you haven't had the opportunity to do so, become a YouTube subscriber to my channel, hit that red button, share this video, like it, and of course drop a comment. I thank you in advance for your support. Now let's get back to our topic, and that is how to grow spiritually. There are many people who are walking around who are imbalanced, who are being crushed by life, who are going through many, many different changes. And I think part of the problem is that we are not really doing the inner work. We are not looking at spiritual development and growth seriously. It's something that is not really emphasized in our society. It's something that some people even laugh at. Oh, it's not real. It's definitely real. Spirituality is at basically it's the significance of our existence, and it's something that we should be thinking on daily. It's something that we should be cultivating daily. There's a few things that I want to share with you in this video to consider as you move to grow spiritually. In previous videos, I have said that spirituality is not about religion. I believe spirituality is really about relationship. Is your relationship to God? Is your relationship to others? Is your relationship to yourself? Religion is really, I believe, the vehicle to get us to our spiritual destination, but is really spirituality at the core of it is really about relationships. Now, in order for us to grow spiritually, we have to keep two things in mind. Spiritual growth requires, number one, love, number two, care. And you have to apply love and care to all three of those relationships that I just spoke about. And that's a love and care toward God, love and care toward yourself, and love and care toward others. There is no great spiritual leader that I know personally or that I have known in history who do not spend significant amounts of time with God. I mean, these people, they get up maybe 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning to pray and to meditate, and they do it for hours. I mean, they give God a lot of time. And, at the end of the day, you can't really cut corners. You have to spend time with God if you want to grow spiritually. That's the bottom line. We have to make that sacrifice. We have to make that time. And it's not just time of, okay, I'm going to get up and go to church on Sunday. That's part of it. But, really carving out time throughout your day. And preferably, I would say at the beginning of the day. The middle of the day is fine. End of the day is fine. But, usually at the end of the day, you'll be giving God your leftovers, right? You'll be tired. The beginning of the day. And I know for me personally, I had to make some sacrifices. And I already get up ridiculously early. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not spending enough time with God, because you begin to feel that imbalance when you don't. And I say, you know what? I have to get up even earlier, and to do my meditations, to do my prayer, in order for me to get in the right place, in order for me to continue to grow spiritually. So you have to make that sacrifice. And that's a part of loving God, is giving him your time, right? So as we give God our time, as we give him our energy, as we what will happen is that we will become more aligned. We will become more balanced. We will have more peace. We will have more joy in our lives when we give that primary relationship the time that's due to it, right? So love and care. Part of care is time. Love and care towards God. Love and care towards ourselves. So that promotes spiritual growth as well. So, if we would pay attention to our emotional health, if we pay attention to our mental health, if we pay attention to our physical health, these are the things, actually, people don't see it this way, but this part of spiritual growth. Our body and our minds and our emotional well-being is an extension of our spirit, right? So the body is a physical manifestation of the spirit. Our soul, which is comprised of our mind and our intellect and our emotions, basically is the spirit, our individuality in the spirit, capital S. So as we cultivate and give that time, and as we cultivate and show ourselves love, that will promote spiritual growth, right? So we can't trash our bodies. We need to stay away from negative people and toxic environments. These are the things that actually pollute us, right? But if we are to grow spiritually, we're going to we're going to eat well. We're going to exercise. We are going to do the things like prayer and like meditation. We're going to learn, right? Because that helps the mind, right? Our emotional well-being, when we begin to feel that imbalance in us. Some of you watching may have some mental health struggles. I've spoken in previous videos about my struggle with depression. So when I feel these things coming on, I know it's time for self-care. So you have to put that self-care. So as we care for ourselves, that will promote spiritual growth, because if you're feeling good in your body, if you're feeling good in your mind, if you're feeling good emotionally, you're going to grow. You're going to grow spiritually. You're going to want to grow spiritually. So that relationship to yourself is an essential one. The next thing is your relationship to others. So that is majorly critical as well. So these are the things. These are not things I'm not just making up. These are things that Jesus taught. He taught us to love God, love ourselves, and to love our neighbors. Right. So as we get out of ourselves, because this is a requirement in order to grow spiritually, is to have love and compassion for others, is to not be so self-centered, is to be a blessing to others, is to give of our time and give of our resources to people, and to build relationships. And this is all a part of the things that will help us to grow spiritually, because sometimes we get a little bit too insular. Sometimes we get a little bit into ourselves and into what we're doing, into our own little worlds, that we forget about other people. And it's actually people that help us to grow spiritually. Being in relationships with other people will help us to grow spiritually. So as we especially cultivate our significant relationships, that would be our relationships with our spouses, significant others, to our children, to our extended family, to our friends, and our other loved ones. As we give time to cultivate these relationships, these things all promote spiritual growth. Because if you're happy socially, if you're happy in your marriage, if you're happy, you have a happy home with happy children, if you have happy friends, happy neighbors, and other folks that you deal with, happy folks at work, then you're going to be happier, and this joy is going to promote spiritual growth, right? Just being in relationship with others, serving others, being there for others. These are things that will help us to grow and to mature spiritually, because that's really what spiritual growth is about going through a process and maturing, right? The next thing I want to bring up is we need to change our perspective on suffering in order to grow spiritually. Oftentimes when we suffer, when we go through trials and we go through tribulations, when we experience tremendous amounts of pain, the first question that goes through our mind is, why me? Why is this happening to me? I don't deserve it, and maybe you don't deserve it. There are many things that we go through in life that we do not deserve and that we suffer from. But the thing is, I want you to shift your perspective. And as you go through your storm, as you experience that pain, because you can't exist in this life without going through suffering and pain. It's a part of life. A lot of us want to avoid it, but I don't think it's a good idea to avoid it. I say go through it. Because when we go through it, because oftentimes God uses our suffering as a way to mature and to grow us up spiritually. That's right. He uses our pain to mature us. He uses our pain because usually if God is in it, at the end of that storm, at the end of what you're going through, is going to be a blessing. That means he's going to elevate you. He's going to take you to a new level. He's going to show you something you've never seen before, right? But that goes by the stress. It's kind of like if you want to become spiritually fit, if you want to get in shape. In order for your body to get fit and in shape, you're going to have to put your body through some stress. That means you're going to have to get your heart rate up, and you're going to have to be out of breath at least 30 minutes a day, at least 4 days a week or 5 days a week. You're going to have to lift some heavy weights and tear some muscle fibers and go through the pain of the soreness and of the tightness of the muscles. But you know what? After that's done, after that session is over, you will recover. You will go to sleep and you will wake up, and as you repeat the process over and over again, and as you recover, eventually You're going to get stronger. Eventually, you're going to develop muscles. Eventually, your stamina is going to increase because you put your body through that stress. So same thing spiritually. As we go through certain stresses and it impacts us spiritually, God is growing us up. God is helping us to develop those spiritual muscles, but we got to go through the pain. It's not going to happen. Certain things are just not going to happen for us in our comfort zones. And God, usually when he does that, when he demonstrates, he wants us to be spiritually stronger and to grow up spiritually. What he's doing, he's not torturing us. What he's doing, he's growing us up. And he wants us to be better people. And he wants us to get stronger in our faith. And he wants us to trust him more. But that's not going to happen if everything is just dandy all the time, right? And sometimes he's going to have to put us in a situation where we're going to really need to call out to him. And when he needs to show us who he is. And sometimes the only way that we can see who God truly is when we go through pain. Because when things are well, many of us are not really thinking about God. If the truth be told, when we're feeling good and, money's right and relationships are fine and all is well and stuff didn't break down in your house and your car is running, life is good. I'm not thinking about God. But, sometimes God wants to remind us, I'm here. God wants to remind us, I need you to grow. God needs to remind us that it's all not about you. Sometimes we get so caught up in ourselves and what we're doing in our lives that we forget that there's something out here greater than us and greater than what we think in our opinion is God. There's other people in the world too. We don't just exist for ourselves, right? We're here for a reason, right? So those are the things. So love and care toward God, love and care toward yourself, love and care toward others, and get a different perspective on suffering. Suffering promotes spiritual growth. So those are the things I wanted to share with you in this video. Thank you so much for watching. Share this video if it's been a blessing to you. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Take care and God bless.